Okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to the April TC New Tech pitch event. And let me know that you can hear me and where you're chiming in from. We're excited to be able to bring you this event virtually. We sure miss seeing everyone in person and doing all of our networking before and after. But I think we've got a good event put on, and we are about ready to get started here. Some of this technology is new for us, and it's our inaugural online-only event, so hang in there with us, and we'll try to deliver the best possible pitch night ever. What we're going to do first is give a 5-minute presentations by our regular pitch presenters. We have 3 excellent regular pitch presenters, and then we have a new category called Bar Napkin Pitch, which you'll hear about towards the end of our program. So we'll give our presenters 5 minutes to give their pitch, and then you can ask questions through the comment section, and we'll try to get those comments up to our pitchers and you get your questions answered in another 5 minutes before we move on to our next. So first, I want to introduce you to our host, Lisa Baker-Lawrence. Every other month, she does host our events at the City Opera House. She is also a supporting sponsor with her company Access Point, and we really appreciate both her voluntary time of being a host with us and also her commitment as a host. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring on Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Hello, hi everybody. Thank you for the warm introduction. I hope everybody is home and safe. We're gonna get this thing kicked off in true TC New Tech fashion. We're gonna stay right on time for you today. Jen did a fantastic job with this, so bear with us. We've only done this never, so today's the day. TC New Tech, April 7th, 2020. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic, and TC New Tech is still happening. We've done this on holidays. We've done this during the Cherry Festival Parade, so we've got you covered. TC New Tech is a community of tech enthusiasts, businesses, entrepreneurs, and Michigan policymakers building a culture of innovation, economic growth, and opportunity for local talent in the Traverse City region. We highly encourage you to become a member of the organization. You can scan a photo right here. You can visit our website, tcnewtech.org, and get involved. Our events are always free, but your participation as a member helps us keep these things going. You're also going to get a really nice t-shirt if you choose to do that, some swag, as well as be able to have voting privileges and things for board membership, et cetera, et cetera. So moving right along, we certainly could not do what we do without the support of our generous community. And today we have a $500 prize for our pitch winner, and that is generously sponsored by Forefront Credit Union. Forefront Credit Union is a wonderful bank right here in Traverse City. I'm sure a lot of you, if you're from the area, have been seeing some of their beautiful buildings going up. So we really appreciate that they have taken the time to invest in this TC New Tech today. Michigan Broadband is fiber internet, and they're going to tell us a little bit with this video about what they do. So if you're interested in needing fiber internet in your community, in your business or your home, you can contact Sarah Hunt. They have been a longtime supporter of the TC New Tech organization. Thank you so much, Michigan Broadband Services. And Bruce Moore, the owner, if you're out there, hello. Hope you're safe. Here are some quick directions, and you can obviously take a screenshot of this, take a photo, make a note of it, but you're going to want to use your phone tonight. Something different from today's platform is that you can actually vote throughout this throughout the presentations. So you're going to text your vote to the number 203-529-8755. Each of the presenters tonight are all listed here, and AA would be who you would. I can't talk. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read the screen and have a conversation with virtually myself over here. If you wanted to vote for Neaton Mathematics, you would text AA to that number, 2MG Medical, BB to that number, and so on. So don't worry if you forget to take a screenshot. We're going to go back through and review this in the end, but feel free to continue to vote throughout the program. Without further ado, I want to take a quick second and introduce Dan Neaton with Neaton Mathematics. We've practiced this, but I'm going to work my magic here and see if I can get him on the screen for you.
Hello, everybody. Beautiful audience out there, by the way. All right, so do I have my slides on full screen yet? Can you hear me, Lisa?
I can hear you. You got it. I can see your slides on the side and in the front, but it's readable if you want to go from there. That should work.
Let's see. Okay, let's do it. My name is Dan Neaton. My company is Neaton Mathematics. My product that I'm going to talk about today is a math product called Number DNA. And if you want to see more about what we're doing, right here, mynumberdna.com. What's kind of odd about this, I'm going to have to click it. I'm not sure how to, we have to do something a little different here.
Are you trying to advance your slides?
Yeah.
Should be able to share the screen and then just use the arrow button to the right to go to the next.
Oh, man. Okay. Share screen. Here we go. Share screen. Application window. And share. We didn't practice it like this, did we? Can you see the whole thing now?
I can see the slides and the slides on the left. So if you go up to slideshow,
yeah,
on the very top, hit slideshow.
All right.
There you go. Now
Okay.
if you use your arrow buttons, you can advance.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, that's me, Dan Neaton, Neaton Mathematics. My product is Number DNA. It's a math software product, and you can read more about us at our website. So what is Number DNA? It's a radically different foundational math software. And there's a lot of math software out there. This one really works. All right, well, we have a problem in education, in Michigan, in the nation, in the world, in delivering equitable, accurate math education to our students. And so in this graphic, it's really kind of a depressing graphic, one that I hope to change is we have 100, for every 100 students coming into Michigan schools, 37 come out proficient in mathematics, and that's at every single year. So if you're moving on and you're not proficient from the year before, you're struggling again and again and again. So who does it affects? Students, teachers, parents, colleges, trade schools, employers. Our economy is affected by this. So we have a huge problem. We have an incredible need, a gigantic market, and that all adds up to a tremendous opportunity. So our solution was designed to solve the problem. So Number DNA is a mastery-based, self-paced pre-algebra curriculum that's available online 24/7. Key features that distinguish us from our competition is especially the very first one here, short workouts. All workouts are approximately 3 minutes. And after you finish, you get instant feedback with next steps, the next step in the sequence. And one of the things that is very important is that you hold attention of people working on mathematics. And so the 3 minutes really help with that. And the feedback tells them how close they are to mastery. And because it's so short, in all of our beta testing, they level right up because they want to achieve their goal. All right. So time in this case is our friend. You can work any time of the day. You can decide you want to complete the course in 3 weeks or 3 months. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is that when you finish the course, you are ready to succeed in algebra and all courses beyond. We've done quite a bit of beta testing. So far, I've had 8 teachers, 250 students working on with the Number DNA software, and they've completed over 120,000 problems. And a fascinating thing that I see about that is that they are 90% accurate. The schools are in Flint, Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, and Brighton, and I've also been working with Washtenaw and Mott community colleges. Well, here's the team. There's me, Dan, and Ed. We have a few years teaching experience. The main thing about it is we've been engaged in mastery teaching and learning for quite a while. We really care for our kids, and this is a work of the heart for us in that we want to provide this for our students as they go on. Well, first of all, in the market part, there's a lot of money being spent, about 4.2 billion a year on college and career readiness, workforce training. And our go-to-market plan is a combination plan. It's a B to B to C as well as a B to C. So our customers in the first will be universities, school districts, or even marketers that will take our product and sell it. But more importantly, we also subscribe or will have subscriptions for a single school, a teacher, and a single customer. And from that, from the subscriptions, will generate revenue. Our pro forma revenue projections are very healthy. We just updated our business plan. And so you can see on the screen, very healthy prognosis. And up to this point in time, I have self-funded where we're at right now with $30,000 of my own money. And in order to get this program off the ground, I'm asking and trying to raise $152,000 to pay for programming hours and also to market the product prior to launch. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And again, my name's Dan Neaton, company Neaton Mathematics. Thank you for this opportunity to share, and I'd like to hear your questions. That was my last slide.
It looks good. I can see that. So I see that there's a prompt on the screen from our Facebook feed and our live comments. So if you're watching and you have a question for Dan, feel free to type them right in. We'll be able to read them and get the question to him efficiently. We do have one question that has popped in. How many students do your projections include?
Well, that's kind of hard to, I usually have it by school, by district, by course. But I'm figuring a couple 100,000 pretty quickly.
The next question, hi Russell, is any traction? Do you have any pending customers?
Actually, we've made one sale. Thank you for the question, Russell. We've made one sale to a school in Flint. We have other people in the area of Flint. I've really spent a lot of time in Flint. They have a college readiness rate of less than 5% of their graduating seniors. So that's a very fertile territory. But I've received lots of interest through LinkedIn. And at the last conference I was at in Grand Rapids, shortened by the shutdown. But yes, lots of interest and support.
Great. We have about 2.5 minutes left. I am keeping track for those of you time Nazis out there. Look at. Woohoo. Okay, next question. Are the teachers involved or is it strictly user driven?
The teachers are involved. Actually, there's a number of ways to use the tool. And the teachers in Flint who are using it, and Ypsilanti, and in Brighton, they're involved. They put it out there for their class. Maybe they're working on positive, negative numbers, so they assign it. But then the students do all the work either in school at the computers or at home.
Okay. And then the next question here from Leonard Ferguson is, what is the monetization opportunity?
Well, I'm a rookie in the business here, so I'm not exactly sure what monetization opportunity is. But if you're an investor, I think you're talking about what share, and I wouldn't know how to translate it into numbers. I've heard other people talk about it, but I would say in the 20% range, if that answers the question.
Sure. Maybe it would be fair that he could email you with some clarification and you could talk that through.
Yes.
If you have time for a couple more questions, one is from Brandy Wells. What platform are you consuming your tool on?
If you're talking about the programming platforms, we do a lot of HTML and JavaScript. We make use of JSON files, and we have a great backend that works well for the teachers that are looking to track the students that are using the program. I'm not the programmer, so I might have muffed that one, but that's kind of generally what we do.
Sounds good. And I think we've got time for one more here. Susan asks, how do you plan to scale this nationally?
Well, that's why I'm asking for additional monies. I would hire a marketing group to help me with that, because obviously that's not my area of expertise. My area of expertise is in the design. And but at any rate, that I realized that would be the best way to go about it, and raising money to do that would go a long way towards that. Let me put a period on that.
Okay. So I know I said that was my last question, but I was curious since I'm holding the timer and I can ask. Mike Rollo asked, how is your product similar to or different from Khan Academy? And that was kind of my question. Who's your competition? How are you similar and different?
Well, that's kind of interesting. Khan Academy populates the links that we have within the program when students need to get extra help. In terms of a learning program, Khan Academy doesn't spend a whole lot of time dealing with deep mastery. In our case, the mastery is 90%, and you have to have a time factor. In other words, you can't use your calculator while you're actually doing the problem. So we use Khan Academy clips when you need help with adding negative numbers or solving an equation. So the pathways that we provide, they're probably about 250 programmed items within the pathways. But if a student needs help, they can shift over either to our text or to Khan Academy.
Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dan. That wraps up the time that we have. Thank you for being flexible with this platform. You did a great job. And for those of you that want to connect with him, his information is there, and I'm pretty sure you can review this again at a later time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, everybody else. Good night.
Good night. So next, we're going to move right on into our program, right? Can you see it? Can you see it? Mr. Ted Carmen with 2MG Medical. I see Ted.
How about the presentation?
Not yet. It never works when you have an audience. You know that, because it worked fine earlier, right? So
yeah,
share screen.
I'm getting right there. It's I lost my internet connection in this storm.
Oh. Yeah, for those of you that aren't in northern Michigan, we have quite a nice thunderstorm, rainstorm happening at the same time here. So we're working against a couple things, but thank you for your patience. We are seeing all of your questions and comments, so keep those coming. It's really nice to see that we've got such a great audience tonight. All right,
see it
Ted, I
okay
do
now?
see it. You're good to go.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. We lost an internet connection in the thunderstorm here up in Suttons Bay. So hi, everybody. My name is Ted Carmen, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of 2MG Inc. We're located right here in Suttons Bay, and I founded the company with Dr. Tom Davis, who's a co-founder and an interventional cardiologist out of Detroit, Michigan. So thus the name, it was obvious that we would stick to our roots in Michigan and call it Two Michigan Guys or 2MG Inc. So what happens in an interventional procedure, on the left-hand picture, what you see is what the physician sees when they put contrast in to do an angiogram. What they don't see is the picture on the right, which is the microvasculature that feeds the rest of the foot and the leg. And what happens when they're trying to displace and remove the plaque in the clogged arteries, oftentimes emboli or parts of the plaque flow distal down the leg and can cause severe problems. So in these cases, the studies show that in 92% of the stents and the PTA procedures, there's distal embolization, and in 100% of the atherectomy, this happens. Excuse me. Oh, good, it's playing. So what we developed was a technique and a device to solve this problem. What we have is on the bottom is a device that basically has two parts. It's aspiration and it's rotation. What the rotation of the catheter does is it allows the particulate and the debris to get distended in the artery. So when they're about ready to intervene, what they do is they put a tourniquet cup just below or distal to the vessel. They blow it up, and basically they're creating a dam. So when they do the intervention, which is a standard intervention, like this is an atherectomy, kind of like a roto-rooter, you can see that some of the plaque or emboli flows distal. And this is a plaque that would normally run into the legs, the lower legs, I'm sorry. And so once they're done with the intervention, they go in with the fixer. And what we've tested extenuously in the last month is in our bench tests, in our R&D, is the proper amount of rotation and suction. And we've really nailed the optimal speeds and suction for the device to maximize the removal of the emboli. So if you see here, after the procedure is done, you release the cuff and you're good to go. So the opportunity, you can see the plaque from one of Tom Davis's cases. This is what ends up downstream. And ultimately, it can cause amputations in these procedures. And in the US studies, if you undergo an amputation, you actually have a 1-year mortality rate. So even though it's the leg, it's extremely important to the medical population. Our market size or potential is about $750 million or 750 million, and that's comprised of a current market of about 500 million peripheral interventions right now at our ASP of $800. And then at the lower end of it, there's another 160 million in thrombectomy in the current market there. So here's our team. Myself, I've been in med device startups for 25 years. Completely on the commercialization side. I started carrying a bag and moved my way up the ranks till the last company I was with, we just sold to Merit Medical for 50 million. If you look on the left picture there, that's Mehrdad Farhania. He's a very accomplished CEO and engineer, 16 published patents, and he just exited his last company for 80 million, and he sold that to Boston Scientific. And then the linchpin of the crew is Tom Davis on the right. He's one of the busiest interventionalists in the world. He's done over 10,000 peripheral cases at his teaching institution and at his OBL. And Dr. Davis has actually done 300 cases using this technique, with very suboptimal products that are not made for this. So when we go to market, we have a really big commercial advantage. On day one, we're going to have revenue. We already know who our first 30 to 50 customers are because they're our investors and colleagues. And the speed of this can be enabled by going to the outpatient-based labs. These are the labs that the physicians own and we get instant access to in a day because there's no bureaucracy of a hospital. One of the key highlights of working in this segment is it's a revenue generator for the physicians in the OBL. This product has outstanding reimbursement. And in our research before we started fundraising, we reached out to several of the strategic companies, and there is an absolute interest in getting products that fit into the OBL space. And it's a high area of interest for the strategics. So what we're offering right now is a 20% discounted convertible note. We want to raise an additional 1.8 to 2 million to round out at 3 million. These funds will be used for our IP, the rest of our ID, FDA filing and clearance, and our beta launch. Murdad and I have both used a beta launch at both of our previous companies, and it's a very capital efficient way of doing this without having to raise a Series B to do a full commercialization that can get really expensive. So given the metrics and the other companies that are out there that have sold recently, we think we're looking at between a 6 and a 10x return on our investors' money. So thank you, appreciate your time, and look forward to any questions you have.
That's perfect. Great. If you want to bring a slide up that has your contact information on it, if you have it ready, we could do that. We're going to get right into some questions. I think we've got one that has popped up right away while Jen loads a couple more. That question comes from Joe Dieter. Hi, Joe. How many hours of training does a doctor need before they are proficient to use on a patient?
That's a great question. And this is very minimal training, probably 1 to 2 cases, which will enable us to open up a lot of accounts quickly in a concentrated metropolitan area. But it's very intuitive and easy to use.
Awesome. The next question, can this be used for cholesterol buildup in hearts and in the neck?
Theoretically, it could. That would take an indication for the device, which is a clinical study to be able to go up into the coronary system. It's something we would look at doing after we successfully launch this, or more likely a strategic would do it, but that would you would need a clinical study to do this. We're using a simple 510K to get our FDA approval, which is a fast, clean, and straightforward, and we can get this through the FDA process in less than 9 months once we're completed with our design.
Awesome. Let's see, Jamie Kemmler. Hi, Jamie. Can you describe the regulatory approval pathway for this device?
Okay, perfect question. Essentially, what you have to do is you have to do all your pre-market testing. And the testing just shows you that the device is safe and efficacy is in good shape. And then what you do is there's predicates on the market already that we can use. So it'll just, it's not really a fast track, but it's a straightforward process through the testing.
Okay. Let's see, do we have any other questions here? Yes, from Sue. Do you have a formal certification process?
Okay, I'm going to guess on this one, Sue. If you want to send a tag to this, I'm thinking that you're meaning the physicians need to be certified. If that's the case, no. If it's an FDA approval, obviously we have to get an FDA approval for this. But for physicians, no, if that's what your question was. I apologize.
Okay, we're just looking for a couple more questions here. Just a couple more minutes.
If I have a second, one thing, if I can use this opportunity till another question comes up.
Sure.
What we're doing that can make this so capital efficient, right now we have 0 employees. and we're using a third party to outsource our R&D, and it's a company out of Kalamazoo, Michigan called Techna. They do a lot of work for strikers, so they're highly regulated and very capital efficient way to do this. We're not trying to bring anything in-house. We're going to do everything outsourced to keep all the capital costs down.
Let's see, Mike, what's the closest competition and how do you compare?
So there's really, I never want to say no competition, but there's really simple, straightforward tubes that aspirate that don't work well. And that's why we did a bunch of benchtop testing. And then there's really expensive devices that for DVT work in the venous space, but they're so cost prohibitive. The cost of the products in that space are closer to $3,000. And with our ASP of 800 and our COGS around 150, we'll have a nice margin for the reimbursement for the physician because the procedure is reimbursed $1,400. So it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Okay, thank you. So Joe says, how is the suction regulated so it doesn't collapse a fragile artery?
Great question again. What we do is we use very minimal pressure for suction opposed to what current products do. There's products out there right now that do a lot more aspiration levels or PSI levels. So in our benchtop testing, this isn't an issue. And obviously you'd use a bigger catheter above the knee and a smaller catheter below the knee.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Dan would like to know, how are you planning to distribute the device?
Okay, what we're going to do in the beginning, as I mentioned, is a beta launch. I think there's 2 inflection points to sell this company, and the end game is to sell the company. So we're first going to do a 2-person beta launch in 2 cities, called Chicago and Detroit. We will have an additional sales network through kind of all of our relationships. We know a lot of KOLs around the country. So that will be our second inflection point. And I don't believe, given the strategic interest we've already received, inbound interest, that once we get reorders and a proof of commercialization, I think we'll be able to sell it before we have to raise a Series B and fully commercialize.
Awesome. We have time for one last question, and that is from Ashley Sloat. Do you think that this device could be used in other use cases?
Absolutely. Yep, for sure. And Ashley, in a startup, we try to be very myopic in what we're doing, because a lot of startups that I've been with, it turns into R&D projects because they get going in so many different directions. But yes, we absolutely see a neuro use, more stout venous use, and a coronary use with different catheters and regulatory approval processes. But spot on.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ted. Thank you for being here today, and we will hopefully see you again.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everybody.
Thans for your time.
Stay safe and wash your hands.
I know, I keep touching my face and I feel like I'm being judged over here. So we're going to move right along and into our next part of the program. So before we get into our next pitch, we want to say a couple of quick thank yous to our supporting sponsors, Susan Safradini-Rouser with State Farm Insurance, Boomerang Catapult. They've been investing in our companies for quite some time, as well as our SCORE and SCORE mentors. Not only do they come and participate in our events, but they do a lot of hand-holding and support to our startups in their businesses and others in the community. We have a great group of Northern Michigan Angels that have been investing as well. And also Blake Bernard with Home Waters Real Estate. Now, Blake, I put this screen on here and I couldn't get the pink background to change. So we do apologize. We'll work on that and make that blue or gray maybe for the future. So thank you so much. And right now we just want to do a quick update. We'd like to have Lauren Bigelow, the new executive director from 20 Fathoms, could not be in today. However, our fearless leader and executive director for TC New Tech, Jennifer Zunko is going to give us a quick update from 20 Fathoms. So go ahead, Jen, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Lisa. And we appreciate the support we get from 20 Fathoms. And if anybody out there is interested, they have some great programs every month. So you can sign up through Eventbrite. Keith Kelly runs a program called 30 Days of Python. And it's everything you ever wanted to know about Python. And currently that is full, but you never know if something opens up. Watch for it next month too. Software security and design principles. Whether you're an architect responsible for design or a software developer writing code, the time to learn security obviously is right now more important than ever. And that is being offered on April 21st at 5:30. And these are all virtual events. That just like we're doing here. Feature flagging, best practices and implementation. Proper implementation of feature flagging allows projects to move quickly without fallout that a failed feature can have when released. And this is way above my pay grade, nothing I know anything about, so I should probably sign up for this class. But they have some great programs at 20 Fathoms. And if you're looking for a home to start up, they have a beautiful facility there, and they do a great job of mentoring new businesses and offering educational programs. So back to you, Lisa.
All right, thank you. So we're going to move right into our next pitch. I want to introduce Susan with telebehavioralhealth.us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super psyched to be here. Let me see here. Share my screen, right? That's the next step.
Yep, share your screen. We'll all sit here awkwardly silent while you do that.
Silent pause.
Yeah.
Been working remotely for 4 years now, so it does take some time to get used to. So,
that's right.
Okay, are you all set? You can see that?
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear me okay? My name is Susie Morozovich, and I am the founder and CEO of Telebehavioral Health US. We are a direct-to-consumer provider of telebehavioral healthcare, and it's our goal to become a national telebehavioral healthcare organization. Our mission is to increase, let me click that over for you. There it is. So our mission is to increase access and reduce barriers to affordable, accessible, and evidence-based telebehavioral healthcare, to provide opportunities to reduce the national provider shortage by addressing the specific needs of a female-dominated workforce. And it's our goal to become a national telebehavioral healthcare organization. So this is a map of the United States, obviously. The dark blue areas represent the counties in the United States that are full mental health provider shortage areas. The medium blue areas represent counties that are only partial shortage areas. And those itty bitty few and far between light blue areas represent counties that don't have any shortage at all. We have 111 million people in the United States living in these areas. The problem has gotten so bad that Congress has repeatedly referred to it as a shortage, as a workforce crisis. So our product is, we are a telebehavioral health care practice. There's two different perspectives that you have to consider when thinking about our product. From the client perspective, we provide direct-to-consumer care using a HIPAA-compliant video platform. It's compatible with most mobile devices. Our website is super easy to navigate. We're really upfront and transparent in terms of costs, what insurances. They can find the insurances accepted page in one click. They can request an appointment in a few simple clicks. We provide clinical oversight and quality assurances for all of our fully licensed providers who are trained in numerous evidence-based practices, and we track and measure client outcomes. We utilize a nationally supported model of care that was designed by the American Telemed Association and the American Psychological Association. So from the therapist perspective, We are a partner in a branded comprehensive office suite. We have clinical support staff for them, opportunities for learning and collaboration. We provide them worry-free reimbursement, full service credentialing and billing services. From both those perspectives, our product addresses both the overwhelming national demand and the supply shortage crisis at the same time by creating solutions for both clinicians and the millions of Americans in need of behavioral health care. So why do we need this? Well, mental illness is the leading source of disease burden in the United States. It is the leading source of disease burden in the United States. I'll say it one more time. The leading source of disease burden in the US. More than 40 million Americans every year need treatment and don't have access to it. Suicide is now the second leading cause of death for Americans ages 10 to 34 years old. 2 years ago, guys, this was 14 to 25 years old in America. There are currently very few national providers or none. We're talking about the VA, United Indian Healthcare. Only a small fraction of healthcare is delivered by these providers. And the behavioral health market is so fragmented and overwhelmingly dominated by these small providers with no national footprint. We really believe that innovation and technology are required to address these needs and to bring forth a national provider, which there's actually been a call for national providers for over 10 years now. So a little bit about our company history. I founded the company in 2016, immediately after telehealth expansion laws passed in Michigan. I was the first provider in the state to go completely online. My overhead was 80% lower on average than most other providers per clinician because I had no office space. In 2017, I expanded services to California, and I became one of the first and only multi-state providers to bill, reimburse, and provide services across state lines. In 2018, we became a veterans community care provider. That's an extremely important thing for me. And we are a registered vendor in SAMS for federal government contracts to small businesses. So kind of flashing forward, we've added Colorado and Florida. We were in network with 30 payers in 4 different states as a group provider. We have contracts with 4 of the 12 Medicare jurisdictions and contracts with 12 Medicare administrative centers, states in 12 states. Recently, we were able to drop our credentialing costs from $8.50 per clinician to $35 per clinician just by leveraging technology to streamline the process. Credentialing was our biggest barrier in expansion because of those costs. I've started this business with no investment completely on my own, so I've had to be really cost efficient while building the practice. But in doing that with our credentialing costs, we removed that biggest barrier, which kind of poised us rapidly to grow. So in January of 2020, we decided to start to scale. However, in March of this year, obviously the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and we started reaching out to community partners because we saw it as our responsibility to help stabilize this workforce. We have this office suite, it's ready to add people in, and we need to stabilize the workforce so they can stabilize the clients that are in need, which is going to be increasing because of COVID. We have decided to secure Medicare contracts in the states most impacted by the virus and start onboarding clinicians in those states. We are actively working on creating programs to increase services to senior citizens. And we, a couple of days ago, got credentialed with Medicare in Florida to reach out to senior citizens who I believe we're going to leave in the technological dust in about 2 weeks here because of social isolation. Client advantages. So it actually is the same therapy. Every other online therapy company out there is a platform. They all have disclaimers stating, guess what, guys? It's not really therapy. We provide direct oversight of our clinicians. All of our services are covered by insurance, including Medicare. We integrate care with other providers and organizations. None of our competitors have the capability to exchange PHI with their platforms. And our only client restriction is age 13 and up. And obviously they have to have an internet or data connection. Unlike our national competition who cherry pick and often leave out the most at-risk people who have the most need. From the therapist advantage, or the provider advantage, we subcontract with therapists. We provide a real clinic experience for them. It's a clinically supportive environment. We have group and individual supervision, opportunities to collaborate on team projects. We provide the business services, access to marketing, coaching, and marketing help. full service billing and credentialing, and we address the specific needs of a female dominated workforce by allowing them to work from home. And we have a vastly higher competitive pay than most in-person online practices, or sorry, in-person behavioral health practices. So our path to profitability right now, after 4 years of practice, our average rate of reimbursement is $81 per session. A clinician with an average of 30 sessions per week, her annual revenue that she would take home after paying us out a 30-70 split, so she takes 70 and we take 30, would be $82,000 a year. The average provider salary right now in Michigan and statewide is $50,000 a year. The cost for us to acquire a clinician is $25. Our gross revenue under this model, if we hire 10 clinicians in each state, would result in an estimated annual revenue of $55 million. Our competition right now, so who are these competition? So we have a national problem, and the problem is we have the leading source of disease burden in the United States not being addressed. And instead of leveraging behavioral health companies, we've leveraged software companies. Every company that you see on here is a platform. They are not a provider. They provide no oversight. Some of them have between 2,000 and 4,000 clinicians and not a single lick of oversight. Most are not covered by insurances. Most don't accept Medicare. Most cherry pick, and all have a disclaimer stating, guess what? It's not therapy. That's why the logo is so important to me, is because in order to be considered telemedicine or telehealth, it's got to be the same service offered through a telecommunications platform. And we are the same therapy on a different couch. Even one of the disclaimers outright says we are not a behavioral healthcare provider. If you look at the stars by those companies, those are their estimated annual, that's their estimated annual revenue for not being behavioral healthcare providers. Our leadership team consists of myself. I've been an outpatient therapist, a clinical supervisor, instructor, trainer, magician, just kidding. Corey Hart is our COO, and our CPO is Steve Rotary. Our next steps right now are to onboard clinicians in every state. I want to be in network with Medicare in all 50 states because they are a great payer and it makes my life so much easier. And the need is there too. It's one of the first contracts that clinicians don't go for, and I do not understand why. And we're going to build a centralized platform that encompasses all of the features of our unique and full service office suite. Those are our next steps. Fundraising, we're looking for $500,000 of a pre-seed round through crowdfunding. The pre-money valuation for the company right now is $9 million. The use of funds, again, to scale rapidly, to develop a platform. We need help with operations and staff salaries if we're going to scale fast, to continue to provide oversight, to manage outcomes, and to develop further programs. Because right now, the way I see it is Corey, Steve, and I have created a lump of wonderful clay, and it's these clinicians' jobs to come in and mold it into what it can be by expanding programs based on their interests. And that is us in a nutshell. Same therapy, different couch. I hope it was under 5 minutes.
That's okay. We were a little over, but I think you probably answered a lot of the questions that would have come in. So if anybody has any questions that were not answered in that great description, you can write them now. I did have a couple of comments, and I tend to agree that the timeliness of this is going to be much needed after this COVID-19 experience that we're all going through. So it's nice to see that these types of things are out and available.
So the senior citizen population keeps me up at night, because I think if all of us just introduced one of them to Gmail, if they weren't already on it, and did a Google's Hangout call with them and showed them how to do that, it would make a difference in a lot of lives. Most of us are fortunate enough to be able to not have to socially isolate because we can leverage technology, but a lot of seniors don't know how to do that. And platforms like Google Hangouts have been made so simple that it's just a matter of scheduling something with them in your calendar, and they click on a link on that box on their calendar, and boom, there you are.
I do have a couple questions. Here's one. What channels are you using to raise awareness of your service among providers and among clients?
So right now, so in terms of marketing and letting people know that we're out there, we're in all the provider directories with all the payers that we're in network with. We do Google marketing. We do reach out to primary care physicians. Right now, being located in Michigan, that's kind of where I've been targeting things. And a lot of social media advertising. I love to make print materials, but no one else in my company seems to appreciate that. But does that answer your question? So, yep.
I think it did, and your contact information is there if they wanted to get further clarification. There's another question here from Doran. What is the current revenue, if at all?
So the current revenue right now, so for the past 4 years, up until about a month ago, I've been the only clinician providing services. So the current revenue is based on one clinician providing part-time services. And the reason why it was one clinician providing part-time services is because I had no investment. So I built every aspect of the business, from the website to developing the 70 pages of standard operating procedures and protocols, to the mission, to everything. So I reserved half my time to over 3.5 years, put it all together to the point where I thought I'd be ready to add clinicians. So the annual revenue is, I'd have to look it up, but it's whatever 12.5 units a week times 81 times 48 weeks a year would be. I think it was like around $45,000, which is about right for on par for the split we have, because if full-time would be about 80, then part-time would be about 45, 40.
Okay, let's see if we have time for one more right at the end.
I can answer the logic for the $9 million per money evaluation. It's completely contingent right now on how many clinicians we add. So right now we know for a fact that the average reimbursement is $81 per session. So we also know that the need for services in the mental health problem in America, the disease burden, and the shortage supply just drives demand. So we're not going to have a hard time filling our clinicians.
How do you? I got to interrupt because this next question is the last question, and it has to do with that. And it is, how do you market to therapists and attract them to the platform?
We started marketing 2 weeks ago. We've already onboarded 7 clinicians. We have 40 applications in queue. Every clinician that we meet is amazed at what we're offering. It has not been hard to find clinicians. This is a workforce that is told their whole life, you won't make any money, and look back at you and go, it's okay, I'm called to do it. And now we're saying, guess what, folks? Calling and you can also get paid a fair living doing it. And so it's amazing. Thank you so much. It means so much to me.
Thank you very much for being here, Susan, and thank you for filling in for your cohort. You did a great job, and we're going to move on with the program. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. It is raining like crazy outside over here, so hopefully you can see my screen okay. Again, we are very thankful to our sponsors, including and not limited to fellow board member Kelly Ignis with Workshop 6-7. She was also the idea behind finding this platform that we use today. So if you have any questions about that or would like to use it, definitely hit her up. We also have plenty of in-kind sponsors. These are folks that provide services in kind, obviously. So if that's a service that if you have a service that could be of value to TC New Tech, please don't hesitate to reach out. It takes a lot of money writing checks, but it also takes a lot of service and support. So we thank you for that. And I want to bring Jen back on to explain what we've got going on with this bar napkin pitch idea and how we collaborated with Traverse Connect. Jen, are you there?
Yeah, it's when this pandemic first really came to light about a month ago, Warren Call from Traverse Connect contacted us and said, hey, why don't we bring together our resources, our audience, their audience. We have got a lot of brains between the two groups and find some ideas that could help in response to COVID-19. So these are kind of raw ideas. They're really new. They've just been generated in the last couple of weeks based on some needs that people have seen. So we selected one of all of our entries, and that was from Brig Ricks. And we're going to have him present his idea. And then we will briefly show you some of the other ideas that were submitted, and there might spark an interest from someone in watching this today, and maybe some collaboration between different people, because there were a couple of ideas that came up that were similar. So yeah, we'll turn it over. We'll get Briggs on the screen here.
Hello.
And just need to share your deck with us. And there it is. Take it away.
Okay. Well, I am excited to share good vibes with you, our smart way to stop touching your face and thereby slow up and reduce the spread of COVID-19. So unless you just washed your hands and sang happy birthday 2 times, you risk COVID-19 infection every time you touch your face. And Good Vibes is here to help fight and reduce transmissions. So studies show that the average person touches their face 23 times per hour. And our health experts from the World Health Organization, from the Centers for Disease Control, to every doctor you see on cable news are pleading with us to stop touching our faces. And the reasons we do touch our face is complex. We don't only touch our faces to scratch an itch. We have some hardwired psychological reasons for this behavior, and it's extraordinarily hard to break this habit. So I'd like to introduce you to the Good Vibes. And I wish we were all in person so I can hear your oohs and ahs. So Good Vibes, it's a smart band that you wear on your wrist that vibrates if you bring your hand close to your face. The vibes alert you to stop before you touch your face and potentially transmit COVID-19 or other pathogens. And Good Vibes works straight out of the box when you receive it. You put it on and you're ready to stay alert and healthy. There's no setup, no calibrations, no online account, no monthly subscription payments, no apps to download to your phone. It is simple and it's easy. So I want to introduce you, slide advance. Technical difficulties with the computer freezing up right now. Sorry about that. So I want to introduce you to Sam. Sam is here to show us how it works. Sam wears a clip-on badge. He wears the smart band, and when he brings his hand close to his face, he gets a gentle reminder to stop before he does so. And as you wear a Good Vibes bracelet, over time you'll develop better habits, and these habits will help keep you and those around you healthy. So here I want to show you how the technology works. So in the you're going to see our badge. We have magnets on display there to show you exactly how it works. The badge is only magnets. There's no batteries or other electronics there to get in the way. So it is very simple. The magnets are on a fabric that's soft and comfortable to wear all day. And below you see kind of the guts of our smart band. There you see, for demonstration purposes, a light instead of vibrations, but as a magnet gets approached to our band, it lights up. That's the power of magnetism. And we have a magnetic field detector, which is the heart of the technology that makes this all work. So what's our competition out there? Well, there's the traditional remedies to help you stop touching your face. Woolly gloves, masks, mosquito nets. There's also Bluetooth technology options, which we studied and ruled out because they require the end user to go through a complicated setup. As you know, with your Bluetooth headsets, pairing is not always reliable or consistent. Bluetooth connections between a band and a smartphone all day long will drain the battery. And there's higher price components, and it requires the user to own a smartphone. And that goes against our effort to make this product at a price point where it can be accessible to almost everyone. So here's the team at Good Vibes. On the top row, you see myself. My background is as an executive and general counsel for manufacturing and technology companies. There's Zach. His company, Oglasnik Group, owns online marketplace and classified businesses in Europe. He brings a lot of digital marketing and online sales expertise to the team. Down below, you see Jason. He has a background as a CFO, and he's our strong operations and finance leader. And finally, there's Dorian. He is our technical specialist. His background is creating custom hardware and software solutions. He recently finished up an incredible smart hotel project, and we are very fortunate to have him on our team. We are launching a Kickstarter in about 2 weeks to get this project going and get mass production going and get this to the public as quickly and as affordably as possible. You can learn more at our website, goodvibestech.com, and you can find this on most of the social media channels. Our handle is Alert Vibes. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was great. Thank you. We have time for questions. There we go. Okay, so while we wait for a couple to come in here, got a little reminder to keep the votes going, everybody. And we've got one question is, can you buy them today? So visiting your website, can you buy them?
Right, so we cannot buy them yet today. This idea actually came about just a couple days before the stay-at-home orders came. I was sitting at my desk at work. I was trying to be hyper vigilant about washing hands, not touching my face, and was exasperated by my failure, right? This oftentimes involuntarily, unconsciously, you touch your face. And one time when I did it, the idea came on my head. I thought, I wish I had something to warn me before I touched my face. And I thought, I need a bracelet, something to just let me know. And I shared that with my friend Zach, who's on the team, and we started prototyping. We brought in other expertise with Jason and Dorian to help us with this along, and we started prototyping, and now we have a product that's ready to go. So at the Kickstarter, we hope to get the funds needed to get mass production going. Thanks, Sue.
Next question is, what is your target price point and the cost to manufacture?
Right. So until we get to ready to go to market, I don't want to disclose the price right now because there could be competition in how that happens. But our goal and our focus and our attention is to make this as affordable, as less expensive a product as possible. And that's why we've designed it the way we have. We believe we have it now at a price point where it will be accessible to most everyone, to most families. If you saw this on a display case in a convenience store or pharmacy, it could be at a price where it's an impulse buy. So that's been our goal, and we want this to be able to be adopted by as many people as possible. And as far as cost of components, we can't disclose that right now either.
So we've got a couple of the same questions, and that is, what is your market after COVID-19?
Oh, sure. So now we're all hyper vigilant about the face touching, but really it's a health habit we should adopt at all times. So most other coronaviruses, flu viruses, stomach bugs, other nasty pathogens enter our body through the mucous membranes of our eyes, nose, and mouth. And so when we touch a contaminated surface and then we touch our face, that's how these pathogens get into our bodies. So this is generally a good health habit afterwards. I've actually been approached by people who are interested in this to help those with compulsive touching. Maybe this could help in that realm as well.
Someone asked, is the product waterproof?
It is water resistant, so feel free to wash your hands as often as you want.
And is it hardware specific?
Right. So I think you're asking, is this a software product that you download? It's not, right? So it is a hardware that we design and we build. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that.
I might be jumping the gun here, but I see one. And we might have time for one or two more. How do you stop Fitbit or Apple from putting this in their wearables? Right.
That's a good question. So right now, for most of the major smartwatch type people, most smartwatches don't have all the sensors needed to make this work. Also, things like the Apple Watch, they will not allow developers to have access to some of the hardware in the watch to make this work. So that's not a possibility. I did see there's one app that can be downloaded for the Fitbit. I have no idea how accurate it can be because I don't think the Fitbit has all the sensors needed to make a really accurate product.
Okay, great. Well, I think that is it for questions. I think you provided your contact information. We have one more. Hold on, I apologize. Can I put it on my kids to stop them from touching each other?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've tried and it doesn't work.
Thanks for that, Enrico. All right, well, thank you very much, Brig, and congratulations on winning a spot here. Good luck to you guys.
All right.
We'll see you soon. Thanks so much. All right, everyone, I'm going to share my screen again and get on into the rest of the program. Again, you've been seeing how to vote. Their Forefront Credit Union is providing $500 prize, so keep your votes coming in. We're going to get right through a couple of the other bar napkin pitch ideas that came in. One was from Grace Crockett. There are veterinarians, dentists, and some physicians who do not practice but have access to medical grade supplies and medications. These individuals could ride along in ambulances to address traumas and administer meds at the site of the injury without increasing traffic to the hospital, perpetuating viral speed. This could be overseen by the director of the emergency services remote. And in each of these, there is a what is needed to get it off the ground. You'll see she needs $1 million and how you can contact. The next one is in response to the current disruption of what we thought we knew as normal. It seems wise to address the elephant in the room. The world has changed and most of us haven't been prepared with the inner game fundamentals of positive psychology, emotional intelligence, and belief system awareness to survive and thrive through a disruptive experience. It seems we should begin teaching these things along with relational economics. The tools for this type of experiential learning have been developed and the online learning audience just went viral. So Joe Wilkinson has a great idea here, and he's looking for, looks like he's looking for, what are you looking for? Build out our team. So he needs people to join him in this mission. So Joe at nowheretour.com. I have just a couple more here. Our fearless leader, Russell Schindler, with SampleServe, has an app for environmental sampling. With some simple modifications, the field sampling app could easily be converted to use in COVID-19 medical screening for both the virus and the subsequent antibody. There are currently thousands of remote medical screening locations being established across the country. His app will help with the remote medical screening data management and sample collection. So he needs some funding sooner than later and beta customers. And so contact him at russell@sampleserve.com and we can get this out to those that need it. This is a little bit of a long one here from Jonathan Poole, so I won't read the entire thing. I'll see if I can summarize. It looks as though we're having respiratory, let's see, many COVID-19 patients have significant respiratory distress and need assistance. Hospitals are reaching capacity. There's massive need for medical ventilators, as we know. Then there's a solution is to provide a low-cost, non-invasive, bi-level mechanical ventilation device, or BIPAP, for COVID-19 patients in respiratory distress, so you do not need full mechanical ventilation. And solution 2 would be provide a low-cost medical ventilator for COVID-19 patients in critical condition. Utilize simple components readily available through localized supply chains to shorten manufacturing and delivery time. So he is looking for an expert team to identify the pathway, and obviously some experts and a supply chain expert as well. And he can be reached at jpoole@jonathanpoole.net. And the next one is teach how to virtually run local and global architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing companies to collaborate in the cloud with building information modeling software for business aspects with Autodesk, BIM 360, and similar products to continue business as usual during these difficult times. So certainly looking to leverage technology. They're looking for funding up for companies and individuals to implement these technologies and practices who might not have had the means to afford the training or exposure to companies that are interested in utilizing the knowledge. So it looks like training and assistance. Jess at eco-phil, or that's not true. You can read it, eco-phi.com. Thanks, Jess. And finally, this is the last one we've got here, coming from Barbara Kahn, a personal device to wear to emit a vibration and sound to alert when the 6-foot safety zone is breached by a living being taller than a dog. So someone to pick up the ball and run with it. Great idea. I recently saw a YouTube video of somebody riding their bike with a stick in their hand. So this would certainly be a safer option. And I may have misspoke because Asher has one more here. It's a mobile app that helps users with social distancing. And obviously we need to practice that a little better. He's looking for someone to validate the idea, has legs, some app development assistance, etc. Asher at pxagile.com. And we want to thank our Forefront Credit Union here in the community for our pitch prize sponsor. And we want to announce now at this time who is winning the $500. So Jen, I see you back on the screen. If you
back, and our results are in. It was a very close race. It was interesting to see during the pitches as the results were coming in. At our City Opera House event, I can share that with you, but I haven't figured that technology out here yet. But it was very close, right down to the end. But we will be awarding the $500 cash prize to telebehavioral.
Shut up! Yeah.
So
I'm
congratulations.
going to tell you to shut up. I just get really excited. Thank you so much. This is amazing. It's this project has been something that I say I've been working on for 4 years, but it's been more like 43. And it means so much to me to get the support, and it just leverages us to do more. Like, I do believe that we are going to change the face of behavioral health care. And this just drives that. Really. Look at that huge check. I'm in a really big bank to put that in. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, I hear the thunder now. It's here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take you off air now. And thank you to all the presenters. It was really great, and we're so happy you were a part of our inaugural event, and wish you much success. We'll go back to your screen, Lisa.
Yeah, so we're just going to wrap it up here. And again, we want to say congratulations to Susan and her team over at Telebehavioral Health. Thank you very much to Forefront Credit Union for that generous $500 pitch prize. We want to remind everybody very quickly that we do have a job board. So if there are any of you out there looking for have seeking people to work at jobs, or if you need a job yourself, True Job is a link on our website at tcnewtech.org where you can post those details. Again, thank you to Michigan Broadband Services, delivering fiber broadband to Traverse City and elsewhere. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for coming. The next event will be May 5th, either in person or we'll go live again. Thank you, everybody, for being flexible and for participating. Have a great evening, and don't touch your face.
Yeah.